Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Storytime Storyline presents what could be the future WWE Tag Team Champions of the world! The Badass Scott Dawson, the Roughneck Dash Wilder, the Revival! And if you're not down with that, I got 4 words for you. No flips, just fists. How to save the Revival. Stay tuned. Doing it, your boy Rob Roman, and this here is Storytime Storylines with Rob Roman. Now, I know what you're thinking, another huge internet wrestling mark who thinks he can book WWE better than WWE. Are absolutely correct. I'm a huge mark. I'm a wrestling mark, a lifelong wrestling mark, a lifelong wrestling fan, WWE fan. I've watched it ever since I was a little kid, all the way up until now, and I gotta tell you, I've stuck with it through thick, through thin, highs, the lows, the ups, and the downs. But when the dust is settled and the smoke is cleared, I've always been there. So, it doesn't come from a place of arrogance or me being conceited, thinking that, hey, I could book better than WWE. Frankly, I think a child with a Mattel's play ring and a couple of action figures could book WWE better than WWE at this point. And I say that with the utmost respect for WWE because I am really a true fan. I have the most respect for every single WWE superstar there. They all have talent, they all have their own skills, and they're all worth more than what they're getting at the moment. Now, I understand not everybody could be a superstar and not every match could be a 5-star match, but the fact of the matter is when I tune in and I see, I don't know, Alicia Fox battling against Sarah Logan, the first thing on my mind is, oh my goodness, I haven't seen Alicia Fox in a long time. She still works there? Cool, good for her. Where's this match leading exactly? Right. Now, 2 of the hugest victims of this have been, of course, the Revival. Say yeah! If you don't know who the Revival are, you definitely need to do some research. NXT, they could do almost no wrong. They were a smash-mouth, hard-hitting tag team. The motto? No flips, just fists. How have they not been given some sort of push or even direction? Now, I mean, when the Revival debuted on the main roster, it started off strong, it started off cool. They debuted in a surprise match against the New Day. New Day? You can't see it, but I was gyrating my hips just now. Shout out Big E! They even beat the New Day clean, which is awesome. But what did they do after that? What direction were they given after that? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. They haven't been given anything. I mean, I don't even think they've ever even had a one-on-one WWE Championship tag team match. Now, there might have been one on Raw here or there that I might have missed, but the fact of the matter is I know 100% they've never had a one-on-one tag team championship match at any pay-per-view. And that's a shame when you look at some of the tag teams that have gotten it. Now, I'm not throwing shade at any of the other people. Anybody with a good enough storyline and who's pushed and built up properly can be put into a successful storyline, as long as there's continuity and an actual direction. As long as the booking for the Revival has been absolutely horrifying, especially when you take into account how awesome the Revival really are. Think Stone Cold Steve Austin in his prime, if he would have cloned himself and formed a tag team with himself. Obviously, they would have eventually given each other the finger. One of them would have got the upper hand, hit a Stone Cold Stunner, and ended up winning the WWE Championship, while the other slid back down to the mid-card, making the mid-card awesome again, and winning the Intercontinental Championship. Realistically speaking, we wouldn't want to do something nonsensical like, I don't know, book the Revival to be a part of some sort of DX/NWO Reunion at some annual type of show where they end up taking finishers from every single middle-aged member of the group. Wait, they actually did that? Wait, they actually did that? Fuck! If given the right push, these guys can make a huge impact, not only in the tag team division, but on the main roster as a whole. Now, what have they been doing lately? Watching exhibitional matches between the B Team and the Ascension on Monday Night Raw, and a little transitional back scene skit where they just kind of look at the television sideways. Now, the first step, you gotta make sure you give them some good opponents. Now, we want to see a little competition. Make a spectacle of it. I mean, Braun Strowman in reality could probably sit on Kalisto within 5 seconds and win that match just due to size, obviously. But we don't do it like that, do we? No, we stretch it out maybe somewhere between 5 and 9 minutes and we make a spectacle of it. And that's what you need to do with the Revival. So the first thing they need are good opponents. Who do I have in mind? Well, another team with some of the most amazing potential, Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt. You got the Deleters of Worlds. They need to get those tag team championships back ASAP if it's going to SummerSlam for a huge match with the Revival. That would be awesome. And I don't want some thrown together huge multi-man match where it's just like 5 teams and then the most unexpected team wins. That won't necessarily fix the situation. I think we'll all be happy for a second at the initial shock of it, but I think the next night we'll be like, wait, you know what? It's not that cool that the Ascension just won the tag team championships. They haven't been built at all. Very happy for the B Team winning the tag team championships as a whole, but the time has kind of passed for that. If they would have won the tag team championships a month ago when they were really like red hot and people were really behind them, sure. But now, I don't know. Not that many people are behind the B Team. The pops aren't as loud. We really need a comedy tag team beating the Deleters of Worlds. I mean, those guys have so much potential. Matt Hardy, who just a little over a year ago was one of the most over guys in the entire wrestling industry because of his broken Matt Hardy. And then you've got Bray Wyatt, who's got all the potential in the world, always has, but it's just been booked terribly and kind of rambles when he goes on to his rants. Hey man, you're gonna find out that the snake in the water, the snake in the water, man, he's gonna rise, and this world, it's gonna burn down, man. And I'm gonna watch it, and Sister Abigail, she's going to paint a picture of chaos and destruction. Run. They should have held on to the tag team championships just a little bit longer. And I think they're decent opponents for the Revival. I think those two tag teams could put on a nice, decent match somewhere in the middle of the card, or even a hot opener, and then drop the championships to the Revival. Step number 2, you got to make the Revival the #1 contenders somehow. And I don't mean in some weird throwaway match where they face like Breezango for no reason, completely out of the blue, sometime on Monday Night Raw. It's a squash match, and then the Revival raises their hands, does some kind of promo, and then moves on to SummerSlam. No, I think we need something better than that. You need to rebuild the Revival a little bit. In fact, 1 episode of Raw, start this huge tag team tournament. Why? Tournaments are fun. Everybody loves a good tournament. The World Cup just played. I mean, March Madness, all kinds of sports tournaments. They're brackets. Everybody loves brackets. Why? Because it fills up and fleshes out a tournament. And how are you going to fill it up? Easy. A lot of tag teams that are not on television right now have absolutely no plan and no direction. Tag teams that we may have even forgotten about have an opportunity to enter this tournament and impress the Monday Night Raw crowd. They get to wrestle. They get to do their thing. They get to put on a cool match and show that they still have potential and they still can go. I think we would get a lot of great tag team matches out of that. Now, the centerpiece of this tournament would have to be the Revival. They win every match, and no matches that are squash matches. Really make them fight for it, but also don't make them look too weak against maybe a team like Breezango that hasn't been featured in a long time. Now, you have the Revival, fight, scrape, and claw, still looking badass the entire time while working their way through this tournament. And then, the big match at SummerSlam. And then you give them enough time. You give them enough time to put on some kind of a tag team classic, something that we're going to remember, and a hard-earned victory for the Revival. Hell, they don't even have to really win it. They could just come really close to winning it, setting up a program between these two tag teams. I mean, that's just how it works. The formula has worked with the Usos and the New Day. The formula worked with the Wyatts and the Usos. It's worked with many, many tag teams before. It worked with Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, The Shield Reunion versus Sheamus and Cesaro. It even worked with Sheamus and Cesaro versus The New Day. Build up a decent program between the Revival and whatever team you choose. My personal preference on Raw at this moment would be the Deleters of Worlds. You can have the Deleters of Worlds talking their nonsense, incoherent promos, saying stuff like, if we can't have the tag team championships, then the tag team championships will be deleted. Plus, can you imagine the technical prowess of the Revival in the ring with the Deleters of Worlds in the middle of a match when Dash Wilder or Scott Dawson does something amazing and cool or even mediocre, but Matt Hardy sells it by going, wait! That reverse chinlock was wonderful! And then a standing ovation for a chinlock, a rest hold, right? That's how you rebuild the Revival. And then, once they have the tag team championships, you make them practically unbeatable. You make them enforcers for whatever badass new heel rises to the top, the cream of the crop, and you have them have these sort of crossover six-man tag matches, which they already do anyway, but you have it mean something because you have the Revival holding the tag team championships and just being the in-house badasses. Another thing that you could really do with the Revival to really pump it up, I mean, why don't you have the Revival, whose motto is no flips, just fists. Go down, take a small trip to 205 Live, shock everybody because they're not on 205 Live, and have them interrupt the match, beat the ever-loving hell out of two cruiserweights, and then just brag about it. No flips, just fists. The Revival, Smash Mouth. Have them be outlaws, have them be badass, have them be truly Smash Mouth. They beat up a couple of guys on 205 Live, and they go back to Raw, they roll the footage, and they show, look, hey, we're badass, no flips, just fists, no games, no gimmicks, it's just the Revival. This would save the Revival. Then, once they're holding the tag team championships, once the Revival is holding the tag team championships, you have them go up against legitimate tag teams. And when I say legitimate tag teams, that doesn't mean just the best of the best of the best. It means you build up anyone to look like the best of the best of the best. If you're going to put them against the Ascension at the next pay-per-view, you build up the Ascension. Have them have a couple wins, not over the Revival, but other tag teams. Have them do some relevant and decent promos, a little bit of TV time. Got the Eaters of Worlds threatening to either delete the tag team championships as a whole if they can't have them, or to delete the Revival as a whole, or even delete the entire tag team division. That could be really cool. It would be fun to watch. The Revival looks all the while stronger and stronger every single week. Hell, even make them go up against two main eventers who are feuding with each other. It was a good start putting the Revival up against Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns, and even having them get a victory. But the fact of the matter is, it led to nothing, and I was kind of disappointed in that. I thought, okay, maybe the Revival stock is about to go back up. So, to recap, tag team tournament, something serious, well put together, given the proper amount of time every week, leading up to a huge pay-per-view like SummerSlam. Good opponents, like the Deleters of Worlds, to face for the tag team championships, and have a good match with enough time on the card to make it impressionable, so that people are talking about it the next night, and people are finally thinking, yes, this is it. The Revival that we know and love from NXT is finally back. The modern age brainbusters are here. They're kicking ass. They're taking names. No flips, just fists. And now, just tag team champions. They could be what the Redneck Wrecking Crew was supposed to be. When you remember Trevor Murdoch and Lance Cade? They could be that, but better. Even better. It's no secret that Raw needs good tag teams, they need a good tag team division, and they need really good tag team champions. And all of this could save the Revival. It could reinstate some credibility in the entire tag team division, and it could help build the Revival back up to that pedestal that they were on in NXT as this tough, smash-mouth, really cool, badass, no-nonsense tag team who happen to be holding the tag team championships. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Every channel's got to start somewhere, and my channel starts here. Saving the Revival. But there's a lot of people still that could be saved, that need to be saved. A lot of booking that's still a little bit that we could fix together on YouTube. They'll probably never see these videos, and they'll probably never listen to my advice. But that's okay, because fantasy booking is fun! So, this has been Rob Roman with Storyline Storytime with Rob Roman. Make sure to smash that like button. Thank you so much for the clicks, for the views, for watching. Make sure to tell your friends, your family, your mommy, your auntie, your uncle, your grandmother, and the person you're in a rivalry with for the championship that this is the channel to come to for great fantasy booking. Keep watching. There's a lot more to come, a lot more to save. Yeah.